Okay, it is official. Just moments ago, President Trump has signed the Big Beautiful Bill, otherwise known as the Reconciliation Bill or the One Big Beautiful Bill. He has signed it. It is a done deal. It is 100% official at this point. And that's it. The finalization of this legislation that we've been talking about for so very long now. It was passed through the House just yesterday. It was passed through the Senate a couple days ago. It was originally passed through the House about a month or about 5 weeks-ish ago, give or take a little bit, and right on schedule. Honestly, this is a little bit surprising as well because lawmakers very rarely actually achieve their goals of getting a piece of legislation done when they say they're going to. They've said for a while now that the 4th of July was going to be their goal to have this on the president's desk. Well, that's where we're at right now. Obviously, happy 4th of July as we sit here and speak right now as I host this live stream. So, hope you're having a nice day. I know it's super hot across the country, but yeah, wow, interesting. Okay. So here we go. What's in this? I talked about this the other day, but let's kind of rehammer this out again because a lot of people are wondering, like, hey, I've heard there's a lot of things in this. You're right, there's a lot of stuff in this. However, there's a lot of it also that does not pertain to many of us in any way, shape, or form. But let me kind of buzz through some of the details here as far as what's in there for the vast majority of people. I just want to throw this out there really quickly because, again, there's a lot of varying opinions about this. There's a lot of emotion around this, and that's okay. Okay, I'm here to bring you the information. I'm here to just to talk you through this. I'm not here to say like, oh, it's so good or it's so bad. I'm not really here to take sides. I'm just here to say this is what's in it. This is what we have to deal with now. But I just want to tell you this much as well. If you look at this and think, oh, it's garbage. There's nothing in here. It's 100% trash. That's okay. But here's the thing as well. I just want to throw this out there super fast. Lawmakers are already talking about the next piece of legislation, or the next reconciliation bill, I should say, which they are talking about and focusing on somewhere probably around the October timeframe-ish, give or take a little bit. Probably not September, but probably around that fourth quarter timeframe is when they're going to do it. So they've got a lot more on their plate here, and they're going to be doing it. Also, I want to throw something out there. There's a press release right here from Social Security. I'll allude to this a little bit here in the live stream. I'm going to put this into the description of this live stream when I'm done here. I'll put the link for this press release out of the Social Security Administration. It was released yesterday after the passing in the House, okay? I will put this in the description. It's the link for the press release out of Social Security, so you can read that. Also, I don't have it pulled up on my phone at the moment, but I do have another article which is right off of the White House website. It's a facts and myths page where it kind of goes through many of the commonly asked questions around this. I'll put a link for that in the description as well, okay? So just give me like a few minutes after this live stream is over with. I'll put the link for the press release from Social Security as well as the that facts and myths link from the White House down below in the description as well. You can read through those. And again, I just want to bring you some resources so you can read through this yourself and kind of see what they're saying about it, okay? All right, anyway, let's buzz through some of the details here. By the way, if you want me to go into further detail, elaborate on any of these in greater detail, please leave me a comment down below once this live stream goes up. And just leave me a comment in the comment section, and I can make you dedicated videos. I can jump on live streams, whatever you need. I can certainly do that for you. There's a lot in this. Okay, let's just focus on what I mentioned in the title of this live stream first. Let's hammer those out first so that nobody says, oh, you didn't talk about what you said in the title. Let's focus on those first, and then we can talk about some of the other additional changes, different provisions within this legislation. Now that it's law. Why is it law? The president signed it. So that's it. Done deal. It's 100%. That's it, okay? Okay, to recap, if you're just joining right now, this is the big beautiful bill, the reconciliation bill, the president's stimulus bill, the president's agenda, whatever you want to call it. This is what they've been working on for several months now. In fact, to be fair with you, they've been talking about this and planning this and actually getting provisions for this since last year, since like a year ago, the summer of last year, before the president was even elected. They were already having the framework of this legislation in place, okay? So they've been talking about this for a very long time before the president was even elected into office, okay? So anyway, all right, so let's stay consistent with the title here, which is President just signed it into law. It's a done deal, okay? That's number one. Number two, I talked about in the title, seniors get an increase. Yes, but it's not the increase that you're thinking, okay? A lot of people are thinking like, oh, we're getting an increase to our checks, right? That's not what it is, okay? I've said this like, I don't know, half a dozen times. in the last like 2 or 3 weeks or so. It is not an increase to our benefits, but rather it is an increased deduction on the federal tax return for seniors age 65 and over. That's what that is, $6,000, okay? To be fair with you, the House of Representatives passed $4,000 in their original iteration of this about 5 weeks or so ago in kind of late May-ish time is when they passed that. They had $4,000. The Senate added an additional $2,000 to this for seniors. So it's good. That's awesome. So the Senate was looking out for seniors a little bit more, gave seniors that extra $2,000 per person, a married couple, $4,000 there. Okay. Now let's talk about no taxes, no more taxes. I said that in the title of this live stream as well. What am I talking about? Income from overtime pay and income from tips is now deductible. Okay, this is obviously not for everybody. In fact, a little interesting story. I saw my dad the other day, and my dad's retired now, but he worked like a dog for like 35 years. Okay, I know like a lot of people work like super hard. Yeah, my dad was right there too, right? I like didn't see my dad a ton. He was only home late in the evenings because he worked a ton, like 12-hour days, like all the time. But my point is, I talked to my dad the other day. He said, "Where was this no more taxes on overtime when I was working?" He's like, "I worked overtime daily, like literally daily." He's like, "Where was that when I was working? It sure would have been nice, right?" So anyway, but that is in there as well. No, okay. Let me say that again. They're saying it as no taxes on overtime and on tips, but it's actually not that way. It's actually that income is deductible. Okay, there's a big difference between no taxes and deductions. You'll notice that as I've been talking about the senior deduction as well, right? So anyway, that's how that is actually officially written is income on taxes, or sorry, let me say that again. Income on tips and income on overtime is deductible now. Okay, talk to your accountant. They'll know the details about this. Okay, by the way, accountants are going to have just a heyday going through this, right? I mean, this is just like an absolute field day for them. Okay, I said that in the title as well. Now, I also mentioned in the title $2,200. What is this? By the way, I know a ton of you here in the community receive SNAP benefits, food stamps, EBT cards, Medicaid, Medicare, all of that. I'll be talking about that here in just a minute. Okay, give me a minute here. I'm going to get to that. I'm just kind of wrapping up everything here. I want to stay consistent with the title here. Okay, $2,200. What is that? The child tax credit payment. They've increased it. They've increased it from $2,000 to $2,200, which is interesting because this is the lowest of all the proposals that they had out there. There were proposals to raise it to $6,000, $5,000, $2,500, and they settled at $2,200. So okay, it's better than nothing, don't get me wrong, but that's what they're at, okay? $2,200, they increased it by 10% from $2,000 to $2,200, okay? That's the child tax credit payment. Next, I also mentioned in the title $6,000. This is the deduction that I mentioned a few minutes ago, the senior deduction. It's not for everybody. Seniors, age 65 and over, $6,000 per person, $12,000 for a married couple, provided your income is under 75 grand a year as an individual, 150 grand as a married couple. This is the extra deduction on a federal tax return above and beyond your standard deduction. So basically increasing the total deductions for an individual senior 65 and over at $21,000, the standard deduction being $15,000, extra deduction or the bonus deduction of $6,000, $21,000 in total. A married couple filing a joint return, again, $30,000 standard deduction, $6,000 per person, provided they're 65 or older and their income is below 150, they get an extra $12,000 on top of their 30, so they get $42,000 of deductions right there. That's incredible. I'm going to be fair with you. That is incredible. That's really, really nice. Okay, that's just, you might think, oh, I hate this. It does nothing for me. My income is low enough. Well, I'm just going to say this anyway. Okay, this may not be a popular thing to say. I'm not here to upset anybody. I'm not here to, stir the pot at all. I'm just saying this much. If they would have reduced taxation on Social Security, as in if they actually would have said no more taxes on Social Security, and if your income is low enough where you wouldn't file a tax return anyway, that would have zero consequence to you regardless of what they would have done. If they would have cut taxes on Social Security, would have had zero consequence. If they give a $6,000 deduction, it still would have had zero consequence. So it's kind of like a horse apiece, right? It doesn't really matter. If somebody's income is low enough where they didn't file a tax return, Doesn't really matter what they did. It wouldn't have still no consequence whatsoever, positive or negative. Okay, just want to throw that out there really quickly. So that's what that is. Okay, so all right. So let's talk about some of the other details. SNAP benefits, food stamps. Let's talk about those really quickly. Okay, now I talked about this in the live stream yesterday. Let's roll through this really quickly yet again, okay? I can make dedicated videos. In fact, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm probably going to make a dedicated video talking about this, strictly about this, just because it's so massively important. We do need to know this. Here's what it is. They've changed different parameters around SNAP, most notably the work requirement. The work requirement, that's a nasty one, right? Okay, remember, this is just focused on ABAWD people. Able-bodied adults without dependents is what that stands for, okay? So to answer the question, somebody with a disability, do they need to do this? The answer is no. People with disabilities do not need to do this. Why? People with disabilities are not considered able-bodied, okay? That's just how it goes. How about a pregnant woman? No, doesn't have to do this, okay? She falls into the category of not needing to fulfill this. Okay, how about somebody that's 65 or over? Nope, you don't have to do it either. Why? Because your age is above the range, right? It's 18 through 64 as far as the people that would need to fulfill the work requirements. Now, what are the work requirements? 20 hours per week, 80 hours per month. What qualifies? Working, volunteering, skill training, education training, anything like that would fulfill the requirements for the 20 hours per week, 80 hours per month. Okay, that's what that is. Now next, by the way, just to put this to give some contrast to this, the current age range on work requirements, or I should say before the signing of this, okay, before the signing of this was 18 to 54. Now they raised it by 10 years, 18 to 64, okay? So that's what that is now. Just to put that into contrast, they added 10 years onto the age range in which somebody would need to fulfill the work requirements if they're able-bodied. That's the key words right there. Able-bodied is what determines somebody as needed to do this, okay? Next, let's talk about the new definition for a dependent. New definition for a dependent. Under the age of 14, okay? So 13 and under is considered a dependent. 14 and above is no longer considered a dependent, okay? All right, now, same goes for... Oh, let me throw out a quick statistic. I was just reading about this. By the way, I'm going to be fair with you. I was doing a bunch of research on this earlier today. I was reading through all the details. There are so many conflicting data points out there. It's nuts. It's nuts. Like all these different reports, all this, this council of XYZ people have predicted X. This group of people over here has predicted XYZ, whatever. There's so many different conflicting numbers out there. Anyway, the range that I'm seeing is anywhere between about 2 to 4.7 million people, which will lose SNAP coverages over the next 10 years. And again, you heard me say that range, 2 to 4.7 million people over a 10-year period of time. That's a huge range. I was doing a bunch of reading of different articles. All these different articles had different projections. They don't know. That's the problem, is they don't know. They're just giving projections, right? So I saw them all across the board. 2 million, 3.2, 3.7, 4.2, 4.7. Okay, so I'm just giving you the range, basically 2 to 4.7 million people, okay? That's what they're projecting. This will, what's the word I'm trying to say? This will reduce SNAP expenditures by $186 billion over the next 10 years. Okay, that's a number that also conflicts a little bit, but that's something that I saw consistent across many different sources. $186 billion over 10 years, that's $18.6 billion a year is how much they would reduce that. By the way, the current spending on SNAP program or SNAP benefits is about $113 billion per year right now. So that would take it from $113 billion down to about, what did I say, 18.6? Take it down to about roughly a $95 billion a year, okay? I'm just running some simple mental math here as I talk. Okay, that's SNAP. Okay, next. Oh, by the way, here's something else that I was looking into. I'm just going to be fair with you right now, okay? I've been looking into. My big burning question is, when? When does this go into effect? I've been looking that up. I can't find a solid source that tells me exactly when these will go into effect. Here's what's interesting about this. All the sources that I was reading were saying, well, the states will need to take some time to update their systems and to implement the new rules and things like that. It sounds like it could take quite a while, like a couple years to actually implement these. So even though it's signed now, moments ago, I wouldn't worry like tomorrow you're going to get whacked with a new work requirement, right? So let me dig into that further here. I've been seeing a bunch of conflicting data, and most of which saying, well, it could take years. Okay, I want to know, like, give me a date. I don't, years is way too vague for me, right? I don't want to know years. That tells me nothing. I want to know a date. Seriously, give me a date. That's what I want to know. So let me circle back on that with you in a separate video when I can find some better information on that. But I just really wasn't able to dig up anything solid to really solidify and be like, okay, this is the exact date. Now, I would anticipate that this would possibly be at the beginning of the new fiscal year. Remember, that's October 1st. The fiscal year for SNAP benefits is, well, and the federal government is October 1st through September 30th. So today being July 4th, what do we have? August, September, 3 months. Okay, 3 months. Well, 3 months minus a couple days, right? You get that until we're in October already. So maybe we'll see some of those changes implemented then. Okay, now that's SNAP. Let's quickly talk about Medicaid. Oh, now that I'm talking about Medicaid, let me throw out there Medicare. Medicare, super fast here. I've seen a bunch of people reaching out saying, oh, they're burning up Medicare. They didn't touch Medicare. Medicare is not touched, okay? Don't worry about Medicare. If you're on Medicare, you do not need to worry about this. The only thing you should be doing on Medicare, if I can say this, you've seen the phone number in my videos. I usually go something like that in my videos. I do that a lot lately. There's a phone number that's usually on my screen right here. It's not there now because I'm in a live stream, but that phone number is usually down below in the chat box. It's in the description, things like that. If you're on Medicare, one of the 70 million people, the only thing you should be doing is calling the team of the advisors here on the channel. Again, it's totally free, 100% free. It's not a sales pitch, it's 100% free. Get a review on your Medicare. That's literally the only thing you should be doing. Obviously, today's a holiday. They're not working today. They may be there tomorrow. I would just call on Monday of this coming week here. But anyway, the phone number's all over on the channel here. If you go to any video, it's on the videos, it's in the descriptions, it's in the chat box, it's on just the channel. I have it there as well. Call that. It's totally free. They will review your plan and find you better options, better coverages, savings, a bunch of money, stuff like that. Anyway, if you're on Medicare, it's the only thing you should be doing is getting a review on your plan to see what options you have. And by the way, I've been giving a ton of shout-outs lately in videos. I've been posting community posts, giving shout-outs there, highlighting different people in their comments. Make sure to leave me a comment and use the word chapter in your comment, and I would love to feature you in an upcoming video, give you a shout-out, and in a community post. All right, anyway. That's for Medicare. Nothing in this for Medicare. Don't worry about it. If you're on Medicare, nothing. They're not doing anything to it, okay? The only thing on Medicare, call that trusted team of advisors. The phone number's here on the channel all over the place. All right, let's talk about Medicaid. Medicaid, not to be mistaken with Medicare. Medicaid and Medicare are two very different programs. They sound the same. They're both administered by CMS, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, but they are very, 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 very different. Okay, very different. They both have about 70 million people enrolled, which is also kind of interesting. But anyway, Medicaid. Okay, here's the deal with Medicaid. They've also increased the age for the work requirement. Okay, here's what it is. Same, 18 through 64. That's what it is. 18 through 64 is the work requirement for Medicaid. Remember, this is just focused on ABAWD, able-bodied adults without dependents, okay? As far as the dependent age range, it is the same. 13 and under is considered a dependent. 14 and above is no longer considered a dependent for the new Medicaid rules, okay? That's what that's all about. So there you go. Oh, let me give you a quick stat. Again, doing a bunch of research on this, doing a bunch of reading on this today as well. I've been seeing a ton of varying opinions and different ranges and guesstimates, things like this. Basically, let's just say this much. A range of anywhere between about 8 million, roughly, and about 15-ish million, give or take a little bit, people that may be extracted or lose Medicaid coverages over the next 10 years because of this, okay? So that's what that's all about. Yeah, so just want to throw that out there really quickly. And again, what's the real number? I've seen a ton of variation between these projections. Just call it between like 8 and 15-ish million people over the next 10 years, by the way. That's not like tomorrow. It's in 10 years, over a 10-year period of time. That's what that's all about. Okay, that's about what I wanted to talk about. Now, obviously, there are provisions in here for business owners, things like that. I talked about those yesterday. I don't really think that pertains to a lot of people here in this community that watch these videos in general. What was the other one? Oh, let me say this really quickly, okay? Because a lot of people, hang on a second. I have an itch on my nose. That's awkward. Okay, hopefully nobody saw that. My nose is all itchy. Okay, here's another one that's interesting. Remember, back in 2017, they passed the TCJA, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Okay, that was a huge tax bill at the time as well back in 2017. That was going to be expiring at the end of this year, which is why they wanted to pass this so aggressively right now, because all of those provisions from the TCJA would have dropped off at the end of this year. Actually, not all of them, but the majority of them. One of them that I do want to point out, because there's a lot of people out there that say there's nothing in this for us. And I just want to say this. I'm not here to, rebuttal and be like, oh, no, you're wrong. I don't want to say that, because that's not the case. I totally feel what you're saying. But one thing I do want to point out really quickly. Remember, I said this earlier. The standard deduction right now on a federal tax return is $15,000 for this year for an individual. But what happened with this TCJA back in 2017? They doubled the standard deduction, okay? And it's been increasing ever since. Point being is that if the TCJA provisions, as in were not passed through this big, beautiful bill, if they would have not been extended by the end of this year, the standard deduction on the federal tax return would have been cut in half, down to $7,500. Okay, why do we care? Here's why we care. I know for a fact there's a lot of you that watch these videos here on this channel that have an income below the amount in which you would need to file a tax return. Why don't you file a tax return? Because your income is below the standard deduction. So on paper, your income is zero, right? So in the eyes of the IRS and on a tax return, your income would be zero. That's now. But if these provisions would not have been passed in this tax bill, the standard deduction would have been cut in half. So now guess what would have happened? Yeah, you would probably have a taxable income. You would have gone from a person that typically doesn't file a tax return to now being a person that would have to file a tax return, and you would probably have some tax liability, okay? So for the people out there that are saying, this is garbage, this is trash, there's nothing in here for us, I'm right there with you. There's a lot of things out there in this legislation that's not, very beneficial to a lot of people, but this one thing alone, the simple passage of this and the expansion or the extension of the higher standard deduction literally saved you from filing a federal tax return and saved you a tax liability. So there you go. It probably is saving you a bunch of money just by having the extension and the passage of this, okay? So maybe that's not a popular thing for me to say. Maybe many people are, thinking, I don't really care about this. This doesn't impact me. And oh, no, I wouldn't have to do that anyway. I'd say I wouldn't say that, because if the standard deduction was only $7,500, which is what it would have been cut down to, or at least somewhere around that range, if your income would have been above that, guess what? Now you have a taxable income and a taxable liability to the federal government, right? The only reason you don't file is because your income is below the standard deduction. But if your income is above, guess what? Now you have an income on paper. You would have had to file. You know what I'm saying? By the way, quick disclaimer, this is not tax advice. I'm not your accountant. I'm not your CPA. This is not tax advice. This is not financial advice. Talk to your own person that knows your information. But I'm just simply saying that's one benefit that's kind of, I was going to say hidden. It's not hidden. It's very much right there in the open, but it's kind of one of these overlooked provisions that's like, hey, this actually does have something within it for the lower income people, where you now still have a zero income on paper, which is good. That's really good. That means you owe nothing to the federal government in the form of taxes. If they would have cut it in half, well, now you'd be on the hook, living on a low income and cutting the federal government a check at the end of the year for your tax liability. That's not cool, right? So anyway, I hope that helps a little bit. Okay, that's about all I think I wanted to mention here in this, okay? I'm going to continue watching things closely. I'll do what I can for you. Again, I'm going to wrap this live stream up here. Leave your comments, your questions, your feedback. Let me know down below in the comment section. What do you want me to come back and focus on in a dedicated video or live stream? I can certainly do that for you. No problem whatsoever. Let me know where you need additional clarification or what you want me to dig into. I have no problem doing that at all. Yeah, so let me know. I'm here for you in any way that I possibly can. Again, make sure to watch down below in the description. I will put this press release from Social Security down in there, as well as I will put another article right off of the White House website. It's a facts and myths article where you can read through that and see what they are doing as far as what they're answering on this legislation. You can read through it. It's just some different pieces of data that I thought might be helpful, and I thought, let's just give you some resources that you can read on your own if you want to read that yourself. Okay. Anyway, I'm here for you. Thanks for watching this. Really appreciate it. Please, if you're new here, subscribe. Really appreciate that. Again, if you're on Medicare, make sure to check out that phone number on the channel in any of the videos. I'll put it down below in the description. I'll put it down below at the top of the comment section, pinned there. If you're on Medicare, write that phone number down, take a picture, call them right away next week, early on Monday, give them a call, and they will give you a free review of your Medicare plan, totally free, and see where you're at, what options you have, and hopefully they'll save you a ton of money. The average person, by the way, is saving $1,100 of the average savings when they call them. So after you call them, you talk to them, leave me a comment on any video. Make sure to use the keyword, just use the word chapter in your comment, and that's the keyword that I search for to find the comments, and I'd love to give you a shout out and feature you in a community post, and let me know what else I can do for you. All right, enjoy the rest of your 4th of July. Thanks again for being here. Really appreciate it. Hope you're able to at least, I don't know, just enjoy. Yeah, just enjoy. I'm here for you. Anyway, please enjoy. Have a good one. I'm going to go, I don't know, go do something, right? Hopefully just go sit outside or something. I don't know. It just feels like the right thing to do on a day like this, right? All right, anyway, please enjoy. Again, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Have a good one. And I will catch you again later in the next video or the next live stream. And let me know what I can do for you. I'll do whatever I can. Okay? All right. Enjoy. Have a good one. And I will catch you again later. Okay. Are you sure you want to cancel? Yes.